This is Ryan Wedding, once a Canadian Olympic snowboarder, and today, one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives. Recently, federal agents seized something almost nobody on Earth has ever seen in person: a Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR Roadster. Only 6 exist, and investigators say one of them was connected to him. So how does an Olympian go from the world stage to the center of an international criminal investigation? How does a former athlete end up accused of trafficking routes stretching from Colombia to Canada, tied to a homicide abroad, and reportedly hiding somewhere in Mexico? From Olympic dreams to international fugitive, from snowboarding champion to $15 million manhunt, from Canada to Mexico and everywhere in between. This is Ryan Wedding's case. Ryan Wedding was once a Canadian Olympic athlete, hailing from Thunder Bay, Ontario, a truly gifted snowboarder. In 2002, he competed at the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, participating in the parallel giant slalom, where he finished 24th. While not a podium finish, this was an opportunity most athletes would dream of, a pinnacle of athletic achievement. For Wedding, the Olympics should have opened numerous doors: lucrative sponsorships, prestigious coaching gigs, and a promising future within winter sports. Instead, he disappeared from competitive snowboarding almost immediately. A stark and sudden departure from the world stage. What he did next is where this story takes its first truly dark and unexpected turn, veering sharply from his athletic past. Canadian outlets reported he left Simon Fraser University, worked various odd jobs, and bounced at nightclubs, seemingly drifting without direction. He also developed an interest in bodybuilding, transforming his physique, a detail that would later become significant. But investigators now assert this wasn't mere aimlessness. They believe this period was a calculated form of camouflage, a deliberate obscuring of his true intentions. Because in 2006, the RCMP launched an operation targeting a massive marijuana grow site, an illicit enterprise of significant scale. This operation uncovered over 6,000 plants, a staggering quantity of illicit cannabis, with an estimated street value of $10 million. The location was 18 Carat Farms, a seemingly innocuous name for such a large-scale criminal venture. Wedding wasn't charged, as police couldn't directly tie him to the operation due to insufficient evidence at the time. However, his name appeared in public reporting, linking him to the illicit activity, even without formal charges. And here's the critical detail most people miss. Authorities believe this entire episode was his audition, a test of his capabilities within the criminal underworld. But the moment that truly sealed his fate came 2 years later, in 2008, and it involved a setup he never saw coming. In 2008, Wedding met with someone he believed was a supplier, intending to purchase 24 kilograms of cocaine for smuggling into Canada. Unbeknownst to him, that supplier was cooperating with U.S. officials, making the entire transaction a meticulously planned sting operation. By 2010, Wedding was convicted for attempting to purchase controlled substances and was sentenced to a 4-year federal prison term. During his sentencing, he expressed remorse for his actions, a sentiment that would prove to be fleeting. Now, most people in his position would use prison as a profound wake-up call, an opportunity to get out, go straight, and rebuild their lives. Wedding, however, did the exact opposite, choosing a path that would lead him deeper into the criminal abyss. What happened after his release in 2014 reveals the intricate blueprint he would meticulously follow for the next decade, escalating his criminal enterprise. After 2014, Wedding went ghost publicly. There were no interviews, no social media presence, and no clear, legitimate career path. But federal prosecutors allege something far more sinister was happening. He was actively networking, building a new criminal infrastructure. He cultivated new contacts, established relationships with foreign suppliers, and orchestrated structured international activity on an unprecedented scale. By 2018 and 2019, investigators traced his movements spanning 4 countries: Colombia, Mexico, Southern California, and Canada, Authorities don't claim Wedding built this vast network from scratch. They allege something far more strategic and insidious. He entered an existing structure, studied its intricacies, climbed inside it, and by the early 2020s, held significant influence over its operations. This organization was allegedly responsible for trafficking around 60 tons of cocaine annually, primarily through the US into Canada, generating over $1 billion. And the way he organized it? That's what made him so dangerous and incredibly difficult to catch. A true master of criminal logistics. Prosecutors described layered logistics, compartmentalized teams, and financial routes disguised as legitimate business transfers. He utilized encrypted communication channels that changed weekly, making interception and tracking nearly impossible for law enforcement. This wasn't a street-level operation. This was corporate-level organization applied to international drug distribution, a sophisticated criminal enterprise. The structure allowed Wedding to coordinate without being physically present, maintaining a distance from the direct illicit activities. No single member knew the full picture, ensuring that if one part got busted, the rest of the network could continue running unimpeded. But there was one decision Wedding made that investigators say crossed a line he could never uncross. A point of no return. In the early 2020s, prosecutors allege Wedding expanded his role beyond mere coordination to include enforcement, a brutal escalation. When disputes arose, he allegedly directed intimidation. When threats didn't work, violence became the preferred method. And according to a superseding indictment filed in 2025, when a federal witness prepared to testify against the network, Wedding allegedly ordered a homicide abroad. That witness never made it to court, a chilling testament to the lengths Wedding would go to protect his empire. This allegation transforms everything, elevating the charges beyond distribution to a continuing criminal enterprise. This is the same statute used against notorious cartel leaders like Joaquin El Chapo Guzman and Pablo Escobar, placing Wedding in a league of the most dangerous criminals. By 2023, U.S. investigators had compiled enough evidence to build an undeniable case, meticulously connecting the dots of his vast network. Dozens of defendants were implicated across multiple countries, and one name appeared again and again in intercepted communications: Ryan Wedding. He is also accused of directing the November 20, 2023 murders of 2 family members in Caledon, Ontario, in retaliation for a stolen drug shipment. A third family member survived with serious injuries, a grim reminder of the brutal consequences of his actions. Authorities believe Wedding is currently in Mexico, under the protection of the Sinaloa cartel, considered armed and dangerous with access to hitmen. His organization reportedly generates over $1 billion annually, utilizing cryptocurrency, particularly Tether, for sophisticated money laundering operations. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $15 million for information leading to his arrest and conviction, reflecting the severity of his crimes. He was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list in March 2025, solidifying his status as a top target for law enforcement. And when authorities finally moved to arrest him, they gave the operation a name you won't believe: Operation Giant Slalom. In February 2024, U.S. federal prosecutors unveiled a massive indictment, signaling the culmination of a complex investigation. The operation was codenamed Operation Giant Slalom, a name deliberately chosen by investigators. It was the same event former Olympic snowboarder Ryan Wedding competed in, sending a clear message: we know exactly who you are, and we've been watching. This indictment, however, revealed far more than just Wedding's involvement. It exposed an international criminal machine that had been operating for years, deeply entrenched and highly organized. The indictment named over 30 co-defendants, some of whom were arrested immediately in coordinated raids. Others were awaiting trial, while several names remained sealed, indicating authorities had yet to publicly identify all involved parties. Prosecutors meticulously outlined a sophisticated network spanning storage facilities across Southern California, serving as key logistical hubs. Disguised transport vehicles crossed international borders weekly, moving illicit goods with calculated precision. Financial transfers were routed through seemingly legitimate businesses, obscuring the true origin and destination of vast sums of money. Encrypted communication apps were rotated every few weeks, a tactic designed to evade detection and maintain operational security. The sheer scale of this operation was larger than most people could comprehend, truly staggering in its reach and volume. To put this in perspective, authorities estimated the network moved hundreds of kilograms of illicit substances per month. Not mere pounds, but kilograms. The financial structure was equally complex, involving multiple currencies to launder profits. Dollars were converted to pesos, pesos to crypto, and crypto then converted back to dollars through a labyrinth of offshore accounts. Prosecutors allege Wedding wasn't the founder of this vast enterprise, but rather its highly effective operator. He was the linchpin, ensuring shipments arrived on time, payments cleared correctly, and any problems that arose were swiftly handled. But it was here that Wedding made his first critical mistake, a misstep that ultimately provided investigators with crucial insights into the entire operation. Investigators had been running wiretaps for over a year, meticulously intercepting thousands of messages and phone calls. They even managed to penetrate encrypted chats that Wedding believed were impenetrable, revealing his deepest secrets. In court documents, prosecutors referenced specific conversations where Wedding allegedly directed transport routes after border security increased. He authorized payments to couriers in California, coordinating with Mexican contacts about storage locations. Most chillingly, he discussed resolving problems with individuals who owed money, a phrase that would later take on a sinister meaning. That last phrase, resolving problems, became a critical piece of evidence, painting a grim picture of the network's enforcement tactics. The connections Wedding built were deep-rooted, some dating back to before his 2010 conviction, indicating a long history of criminal activity. This meant he had been meticulously planning and expanding his criminal enterprise for over a decade, learning from past mistakes. Prosecutors believe Wedding maintained relationships from his first arrest, turning former associates into cooperators or even suppliers. He learned from his mistakes, grew smarter, and expanded his operations internationally, becoming a formidable figure in the global drug trade. By 2020, investigators tracked his frequent movements between Canada and Mexico, characterized by short stays and exclusive cash transactions. But then came the pivotal moment that escalated this from a distribution case into something far more serious and dangerous. Mid-2024 saw the beginning of arrests, with defendants apprehended in California and Canada in coordinated raids across multiple time zones. However, when agents moved to locate Wedding, he was gone, not merely having left town, but completely vanished. Authorities believe he fled Canada before the indictment was unsealed, suggesting he was tipped off by a leak, a lawyer, or an informant who flipped back. What happened next transformed Wedding from a mere fugitive into an accused killer, adding a horrifying new dimension to his criminal profile. After Wedding disappeared, a federal witness connected to the case prepared to testify, possessing direct knowledge of the network's operations, including dates, locations, and names. According to a superseding indictment filed in early 2025, that crucial witness was tragically murdered abroad. Prosecutors allege Wedding coordinated the killing from his hiding spot, meticulously planning and directing it to ensure it happened before trial. The witness never testified, their voice silenced, but their death spoke volumes about the ruthlessness of Wedding's organization. This single, heinous allegation changed everything, elevating the case to an unprecedented level of urgency and danger. Because now, the FBI had a compelling reason to do something they reserve for only the most dangerous and elusive fugitives. March 2025. The FBI makes an announcement. Ryan Wedding is added to a major wanted list reserved for individuals accused of serious violent crimes. The reward? $10 million. For context, that's the same reward tier as international terrorists and cartel leaders. But within weeks, something unprecedented happens that tells you how seriously authorities are taking this. The reward jumps to $15 million. That's El Chapo money. That's the level of reward used for people who threaten national security. Wedding's FBI poster lists charges including large-scale international distribution, continuing criminal enterprise, money laundering conspiracy, and murder of a federal witness. That last charge is why the reward went up. Killing a witness isn't just about silencing one person. It's about intimidating everyone else who might cooperate. And the FBI isn't the only agency hunting him. The list of people looking for Wedding is staggering. U.S. Marshals, DEA, RCMP in Canada, Interpol, Mexican authorities. This is a multinational manhunt with resources most fugitives never face. But here's the problem. Despite all that firepower, despite the $15 million reward, despite agencies across 4 countries actively searching, nobody can find him. No confirmed sightings since mid-2024. And what that suggests is deeply concerning. Investigators publicly state Wedding is believed to be in Mexico, specifically regions where fugitives historically attempt to blend in. They won't name specific groups. They won't confirm protection. But reading between the lines, Wedding isn't just hiding. He's being hidden. The implication is clear. Someone powerful enough to shield a $15 million fugitive is keeping him off the grid. And while the search continues, federal agents start dismantling everything Wedding built, which is when they find something nobody expected. During asset seizures, agents freeze bank accounts, seize properties, confiscate vehicles registered to shell companies linked to the network. And then they find it. A Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR Roadster. If you're not a car person, let me explain why this matters. Only 6 of these cars were ever made. It's one of the rarest production vehicles on Earth. Estimated value, over $10 million. The car seizure goes global. Not because of the legal case, because of the car's rarity. And it raises one massive question. If Wedding had access to a $10 million car, what else did he have access to? Prosecutors reference businesses, offshore accounts, and financial transfers in court documents. But they withhold specifics until trial. The CLK GTR becomes a symbol, not just of wealth, but of the scale of the alleged network. Asset forfeiture removes resources from criminal structures, but it also sends a message. We're taking everything. But even with assets seized, co-defendants in custody, and a $15 million reward active, one question remains. If investigators know the regions, if the reward is massive, if multiple agencies are hunting him, why hasn't he been found? The answer lies in how modern fugitives operate. And it's more sophisticated than most people realize. Because Wedding didn't just disappear. He executed a plan. And understanding that plan reveals why this manhunt could take years. Let's talk about how someone vanishes in 2025. No dramatic escape. No shootout at the border. No Hollywood moment. Ryan Wedding just stopped existing in official records. And the way he did it reveals a blueprint that other fugitives are now copying. Investigators believe Wedding left Canada before the indictment was unsealed in February 2024. Which means he knew it was coming. After that, no official record places him in Canada or the United States. No border crossings, no flight manifests, no credit card transactions. Multiple outlets cite Mexico as the likely location. Not confirmed, but aligned with investigation patterns and intercepted intelligence. So how does someone stay hidden when they're one of the most wanted fugitives in North America? The answer is simpler than you think. Cash. Lots of it. Fugitives connected to international networks often have access to hidden reserves, money buried, money held by associates, money converted to gold or crypto before they run. Wedding allegedly coordinated millions in transactions. If he skimmed even a fraction, that's years of living expenses. Unregistered communication, burner phones rotated weekly, encrypted apps that self-destruct messages, In-person meetings only. Frequent movement. Never stay in one place longer than a few weeks. Rotate between safe houses. Avoid patterns. But the most important factor? The one thing that keeps fugitives like Wedding hidden for months or years. Protection from networks. Individuals connected to international organizations sometimes receive temporary shelter. Not forever, but long enough to avoid immediate detection. These networks operate on loyalty and leverage. If Wedding has information that could hurt powerful people, they have incentive to keep him quiet and alive. If he has money stashed that benefits them, they have incentive to keep him accessible. And here's the cold reality that investigators face when a fugitive exits predictable jurisdictions. The search becomes technical, slower, more resource-intensive. Investigators track financial signals, like cash withdrawals from linked accounts, digital patterns like IP addresses, even from encrypted services, communication gaps, tracking who stops talking when he reaches out, and movement proxies, people traveling on his behalf. Every fugitive makes mistakes. The question is whether investigators can detect the mistake before the trail goes cold again. But while the manhunt continues, there's a human cost most people don't see. Families in Canada affected by the alleged network. Communities dealing with the impact of distribution. People who lost loved ones. Co-defendants appear in court. Some cooperate, some fight charges. Evidence gets processed. The legal system moves slowly, but it moves. Investigators continue increasing pressure, tightening the search, monitoring every possible lead. And authorities believe one thing with absolute certainty. Wedding will surface, maybe through a financial slip, maybe through a former associate who flips, maybe through a sighting from someone who sees the FBI poster and wants $15 million. Fugitives rarely stay hidden forever. Time is not on their side. Which brings us to the final question. What happens if, or when, Wedding is found? Because the answer might surprise you. Let's say Wedding is captured tomorrow. The $15 million tip comes in. Mexican authorities make the arrest. Cameras rolling. Headlines everywhere. What happens next is where this case gets really complicated. First, extradition. If Wedding is arrested in Mexico, he doesn't automatically return to the US. Mexico and the US have an extradition treaty, but the process takes months, sometimes years. Defense attorneys file appeals. Mexican courts review evidence. Diplomatic coordination happens behind closed doors. And if Wedding fights it, add more time. Let's say extradition succeeds. Now comes the trial. And this is where things get unprecedented. A case this size, over 30 co-defendants, multiple countries, thousands of intercepted messages, could take years to prosecute. Witness testimony from 4 countries. Digital evidence requiring translation and authentication. Financial records spanning dozens of accounts. Defense attorneys will challenge everything. Chain of custody. Wiretap legality. Witness credibility. And here's the part most people don't understand about cases like this. The charges are allegations until proven in court. Prosecutors must prove beyond reasonable doubt that Wedding coordinated international distribution, directed financial operations, and ordered the murder of a federal witness. That last charge requires proving Wedding gave the order. Not just that he knew about it, that he directed it. Prosecutors will rely on intercepted communications, cooperating witnesses, and circumstantial patterns. Defense will argue it's not enough. But there's one piece of evidence that prosecutors will use as a symbol of everything they're alleging. The Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR Roadster, one of 6 in the world. Seized from a network allegedly controlled by a former Olympian. Asset forfeiture accomplishes 2 things. It removes resources from criminal structures, and it shows juries the scale of financial operations. If Wedding had access to a $10 million car, the argument goes, what else was he controlling? Meanwhile, the $15 million reward stays active, and investigators continue working with partners across borders, US agencies, RCMP, Interpol, Mexican Federal Police. This isn't just about one fugitive. It's about dismantling an entire network. Every defendant arrested is another potential cooperator. Every financial account traced is another link in the chain. And history shows us one thing clearly. Fugitives make mistakes. So where does this leave us? What's the real takeaway from the Ryan Wedding case? It shows how modern networks operate across borders, how individuals move between nations using cash, contacts, and compartmentalized structures. It shows how hard it is to locate someone outside predictable jurisdictions, but also how agencies adapt their methods. And it shows how far investigators will go when public safety is at stake.
You do not get to be a drug kingpin and evade the law. Make no mistake about it. Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar.
He controls one of the most prolific and violent drug trafficking organizations in this world. He is currently the largest distributor of cocaine in Canada. Wedding collaborates closely with the Sinaloa cartel, a foreign terrorist organization, to flood not only American but also Canadian communities with cocaine coming from Colombia. His organization is responsible for importing approximately 60 metric tons of cocaine a year into Los Angeles via semi-trucks from Mexico. To put that in perspective, 60 metric tons is approximately the weight of 40 standard cars. Wedding is also accused of murdering a federal witness after he was indicted in 2024. He used a Canadian website called The Dirty News to post photographs of the witness and his wife in order to locate him, which ultimately succeeded. The witness was gunned down in a restaurant in Medellin before he could testify against Wedding. Today, we're unsealing a new indictment, charging Wedding with 2 additional counts of witness tampering and intimidation, murder, money laundering, and drug trafficking.
So these new charges come after a years-long investigation by U.S. agencies spanning multiple countries, but also, of course, involving the help of the RCMP, as well as Colombian and Mexican officials. And they have indicted 35 people to date. They have also seized $3.2 million in cryptocurrency, confiscated $13 million, and seized 2,000 pounds of weapons, all in their effort to track down and arrest Ryan Wedding, the Canadian former snowboarder, now turned alleged drug kingpin.
Now, Willie, RCMP and OPP were also a part, at least RCMP was part of that announcement. And we heard from the commissioner who said that OPP, along with RCMP, arrested 7 Canadians yesterday, including a lawyer.
For now, Ryan Wedding remains a fugitive. His charges are unresolved, his location unknown, and his future completely uncertain. But here's the part most people don't realize. When someone like Wedding vanishes this effectively, others pay attention. Other fugitives, other criminals, other people already on the edge. They watch the manhunt unfold. They study the mistakes he didn't make, and the ones investigators are still waiting for. And they adjust their own escape plans. If anything changes in this case, if there's a break, an arrest, a confirmed sighting, or even a whisper from investigators, you'll hear about it here first. But for today, that's where we leave it. If you want to follow this investigation as it evolves, make sure you're subscribed. And if you found this breakdown useful, do the one thing that actually tells the algorithm this story matters. Drop a comment with your theory. Where do you think Ryan Wedding is hiding? Thanks for watching. Stay sharp. And I'll see you in the next one.